Hello everyone, this is Lemonade, and today I will be talking about the D.va debacle in Overwatch. D.va is one of the game's two dive tanks who has been nerfed a little while ago. Those of you who have been keeping up with the game will have heard that she was too difficult to kill. I've personally never had this issue, however it has become apparent that Jeff Goodman and Jeff Kaplan are not on the same page as to what D.va is supposed to be, as Kaplan himself has said in the developer update videos that she is a disruptor. She is supposed to dive the enemy team and cause a ruckus. While on the forums, Jeff Goodman has come out to say that she is supposed to shield her team during a dive, meaning that he thinks she should be a mobile version of Reinhardt. There have been very many forum posts about the issue, and it's now gotten to the point where it has become very apparent that Goodman either doesn't understand the game he is working on, or has some bias against the character, or some communication breakdown is occurring behind the scenes. Let's go over briefly about what exactly D.va should be doing. She has mobility that allows her to get to high ground quickly, and can outright bypass the front line, with the combination of her defense matrix, which at the cost of attacking, allows her to negate projectiles within her limited field of view in the form of a cone. D.va is also able to shield herself while getting within range of her target. The shield must come down, exposing an overly easy to hit center of mass crit spot. So no, it does not require much or any skill to do any massive amounts of damage to D.va. That isn't you being pro, this is D.va's unique feature to having very easy critical hits landed on her. She also has an ultimate that threatens to kill anyone in the blast radius. After 3 seconds, however, it is among the easiest ultimates to negate, since Reinhardt, Winston, Zarya, Symmetra, Mei, and now Orisa will have basic abilities to block the explosion's line of sight to defend the team. It can also be blocked by hiding behind cover, which Lucio is greatly able to assist with his speed boost. Because of this, the main point of the ability is to normally create space while going for kills, but the primary use is to basically create 3 or more seconds of calm while D.va's team pushes forward and takes the point. D.va's role for her team has been described to be that of a vanguard that pushes forward and claims space for her team so that they are able to move forward, and as such was a great response to characters that like to put down suppressive fire such as Widow, Hanzo, and Soldier 76 in the past. While not ideal for characters like Junkrat, she could still get him to back away and occupy his attention, because with that amount of armor, characters that do large amounts of damage in one burst are not as easily effective, but she could still threaten him out. Unlike Reinhardt and Orisa, D.va's defense matrix has a limited scope of protection. Because of this shield is best used to aggressively defend her team rather than being passive about it, by quickly trying to locate the most immediate threat to the team and intercepting them with defense matrix, tackling them like a Secret Service agent, punch them in the face, and then shoots them in said face with her close-range shotguns that are nowhere near on the same level as Reaper. They are like discount shotguns you'd find like Toys R Us for children. Now, the problem with the nerfs is that they have severely limited D.va's ability to do this, to the point there is very little reason to ever want to pick her outside of blocking Bastion fire, which is very, very niche, and this nicheness is the same reason why Symmetra got reworked. So what exactly is wrong with the D.va nerfs? It is the combination of her triple nerfs. Yes, she was triple nerfed. With less armor, the critical hits D.va takes in come in very, very quickly, making it very difficult for her to stand her ground and remain in the backline. Because this, as a disruptor, she becomes less effective, as she cannot stay in as long as, say, Tracer and Genji while being able to put in work. Winston is also able to shield himself and attack at the same time. Granted, the barrier is rooted, it does offer protection that gives him enough time to be a menace and pick off squishy backliners should he be ignored. With no shields constantly covering her, in addition to lower damage and increased pellet count, which divides the damage among the pellets even further, D.va has difficulty doing enough damage to slim targets to threaten them with the possibility of death during her dive. This is basically because majority of her pellets are going to miss on slim targets, and due to the reduced damage and her having fall off, her effective range has decreased. So backline characters are now much more capable of 1v1ing D.Va and winning. Yet other disruptors such as Winston, Tracer, and Genji do not have this problem to such a degree. They are able to get in, get a kill, and get out, or are able to assert themselves in the back line for longer, creating a demand for the enemy team to respond to them. D.Va's diminished ability to threaten backliners and her diminished ability to remain in the back line while posing a threat has basically reduced her to mainly being a shield bot for her team, which she is not designed to do 24/7. On top of this, she feeds a ton of ultimate charge in a very short period of time. Winston can at the very least play around his bubble and stop the damage, while D.Va just takes it to the face and gives ultimate charge away basically for free. But she has boosters. She can run away, is the argument that often gets thrown around. So in that argument, what you're basically saying is that D.Va should completely abandon their team and run away like a coward, which is exactly the D.Va issue is having. The nerfs have also had a ripple effect across her kit. Since she is now more dependent on defense matrix, this makes managing it for herself use and sharing it with her teammates has become way more difficult than it needs to be without a Reinhardt shield in front of her. This, because she takes a lot more damage faster and therefore needs to use her defense matrix sooner, leads to it being used up more often, which then leads to it not being as readily available to block ultimates. So in that aspect, her ability to block ultimates has also been reduced. To top this off, she's also attacking less, which means less ultimate charge, and with her being demeched much easier, this also means more time on foot as Pilot D.Va, which is not the tank, while being unable to charge her self-destruct ultimate. And speaking of Pilot D.Va, this can delay the respawn time of the mech, which is the actual tank. Imagine if Reinhardt randomly had a 20-second respawn when he died. That would not be fun for anyone, and on top of this, it's also completely possible to hold Pilot D.Va hostage by hooking her to the enemy team, sleeping her, and just basically trying to prevent her from respawning, and use her as an ult battery by destroying her mech the moment she summons it, and purposefully delaying the time in which you kill her so it takes longer for her team to regroup and push in at full strength, which in this game, with how big choke points are, you need your full strength in order to push through. The entire game is built around choke points. You're not going to win a 6v5. It is very difficult to do so. So because of this, the second life is more of a detriment, and I would rather have this passive only activate when she uses her ultimate and just have her die with her mech the rest of the time. So this triple nerf to her survivability and damage has had a huge effect on her playstyle, where basically any time you try to dive in is basically a suicide mission that feels like you are throwing the game and needs constant backup from her healers to help her tank enough damage to serve as a sufficient enough of a disruptor, which means that she fucking isn't. If you need help to 1v1 characters or kill Mercy in an effective amount of time, then you are too damn weak at 1v1 and isolating targets that are the biggest threat to the team at that time. This is the reason why D.Va needs a bit of a buff again. She needs to be in a state where if she jumps onto backliners, she will a lot of the time win without needing assistance from her team unless she gets involved in a team fight or she encounters one of her hard counters. Being in this state is what would make her a more viable tank for backline disruption, because it should take some effort from the enemy team to remove her and get her off the back line. Now in her current state, she takes so much damage so quickly it is very difficult to even get into position to dive because she needs that armor. I'm not saying she should be able to 1v2 or 1v3 people at full health. I'm saying that if you are a backline character, she needs to be threatening enough to you with a good possibility of death in a relatively short, not too short, amount of time to warrant counter-picking or changing up your strategy. Currently, there is no strategy to really dealing with her. It is just throwing damage her way and she'll become too crippled to appropriately dive. This makes her less fun. On top of the pellet count nerf, makes her less rewarding to play, and makes her not on par with Winston and the other backline disruptors. Giving her a little bit more of her armor back can help ease this, and if it isn't enough, tighten her spread so she can reward aim again, because now if you aim at a target like Widow, the majority of your pellets are going to miss. In addition, the turn speed is also affected by the movement penalty that D.Va suffers whenever she's firing, so this also hurts D.Va's accuracy a bit too. And even more will miss if you're trying to go for headshots, meaning that her spread is now more suited for dealing with tanks, which she's not designed to fight 1v1. Hopefully, the developers will realize that she is currently underperforming and will get readjusted, so that she can dive onto single targets again and be enough of a nuisance where you actually have to counter her rather than just occasionally shoot at her to keep her at bay. However, given how Jeff Goodman has basically said he's thinking about replacing D.Va with another mech character that does what she does, only being viable about it, my confidence in the development team is rather low, and yes, this is what he said in the thread. Lack of developer response of D.Va concerns. I will leave this link down in the description, as this gives reasons to worry about the balance of the game. However, with the recent announcement of Winston buffs and Ana nerfs, it is possible they are coming around and are realizing how upset the community has been with the recent balance decisions being made so far. This has been Lemonade, and I will see you all next time. Later. One more thing before I go. The Ana nerfs seem to have been reverted, and the reasoning for doing so seems to be very inconsistent, because they've discussed it internally, and based on feedback, they didn't want to swing the balance of Ana too drastically in one patch, so they're going to pull it back a bit and see how it plays out, unlike they fucking did with D.Va. Because of this, I will be linking the illogical history of the D.Va nerfs from a made by a forum user down in the description below, so that you can also get a good idea of the history of the bullshit that we have been seeing. This has been Lemonade, and I will see you all next time. Later.